I am Stephanie with the Anarchist Beauties. Missed out on the podcast recording, so I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit about my journey into anarchy. Pretty long one. I started out definitely identifying as a Democrat, for sure voted for Obama. Very quickly after that election, I became really disenfranchised with the left and didn't realize that I had any other options other than becoming a Republican. So started looking into being a Republican, attended quite a few Tea Party meetings, even a few Tea Party protests in Phoenix, Arizona. Quickly fell into libertarianism for about a year or so, I would say. And I ended up visiting some friends in Portland, Oregon, who were already anarchists. And after a long night of red wine debauchery, I was like, oh my God, that's actually what it is. That's what I agree with.
How old were you?
Oh God, I was 30. So yeah, 31 years old, shortly after I had had my third child. And I don't know, at first it was about being loud and being an activist and being everywhere I could online, yelling at people about how wrong they were with their statist opinions and trying to get people to come over to see the light. And I've been to many anti-state protests and was very vocal, bumper stickers, super loud. And over the years, it really just more became about how I wanted to be personally living my life. I just wanted to be left alone to raise my kids how I wanted to raise my kids, grow food how I wanted to grow food, participate in the communities that I wanted to participate in. And I guess in even more recent years, it's gotten even more quiet and personal for me, for sure. I find the meaning of anarchy to me at this point in life is connection and love and community, other people, our kids, food.
Yeah. So like my idea of anarchy is really similar. It's probably why we're so close.
It's true.
I guess so. I'll introduce myself. I'm Mandy. I also was unable to make the intro post. So I like never really like the only thoughts I ever had about governments were like, I don't know. I don't know. Like everybody seems to be like unhappy with something,
Yeah.
like it was always kind of there, but like I didn't know what it was. And so like I just didn't participate or didn't like or I was like a minimal participant in government. Like I would vote because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And I actually came to anarchy through peaceful parenting because I I started out like as not a peaceful parent, like not at all. And I was, I was growing and I had done away with spankings. I had not done away, like I pretty much eliminated spankings. There was like one or two occurrences afterwards with my older kids. Um, but like I was trying really hard to decrease yelling and like the just constant fighting and battle that I found. Like once I stopped hitting, that was like one step, right? And then you go into like you just keep growing. And my sister-in-law recommended I look into unschooling because I was having such a hard time with my oldest with school. And at first I was like, no, academics are so important And no. But like I think I started to research it a little bit more, and at the time I was into podcasts, and I found a podcast. It was called the Seeds of Liberty podcast, and they were interviewing John Moss, who was an unschooler, and I listened to that episode that was about unschooling, but I just kept listening to more episodes, and they were a voluntarist podcast, voluntarist group, and so like the more I listened, the more I was like, "Hey, these are like my people. Like I've never knew that other people felt like this, you know?" And so that's kind of where I came into it. And I too was very loud. I didn't do like protests or anything. I mean, I had I had kids and I was, busy with my life and I never like got like that far, but like I would like be online and I had an anarchist page which I met my husband through and I wanted to do stuff. I wanted to do really big things. And I think that like life just happened and two, it's just become about, how can I live in my own personal anarchy where I'm doing the things that make me happy and serve me. I'm not interfering with other people's lives. And if I impact other people's lives, then like that speaks for itself, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm at that stage where I can do a little bit more and not just be so consumed by my life. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say
Well,
about that.
I'm really just obviously we're both searching to connect with other people with the same um, parenting philosophy, and yeah, that rides right into how we identify as anarchists for sure.
Yeah. There's been things in my life that have like strengthened my view of anarchy too. Like,
Same.
um, I mean, just like the couple of big things was my husband coming here through immigration and having to navigate that for years and years and years, and it's just made the state worse in my eyes. And then there was one huge thing that happened in my life that really made me question, um, is this really the answer? And like it just seems like everything I go to leads back to like the state has somehow interfered to make this negative.
It's true.
Or
No,
at at their very best, they don't do anything. That's like the best thing that the state can do, right?
yes. I agree for sure. I've experienced things in life and have had other passions that really do strengthen how I feel about the state being useless,
Yeah.
especially with home birthing and uh, just the complete lack of autonomy, that we see there. That definitely contributes to me feeling like the state is really not benefiting anybody.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's seriously in everything that I do. I see it, like raising my kids and wanting to follow a path of, um, choosing to educate them the way that I think they should be educated, like, which is they should be self-led. And
Yeah,
I don't think that it should be compulsory for someone to attend an institution that has mostly negative impacts. So that's a big part of it. And like I work, um, I work in not for profits, and like the government funding for a lot of things is not it's not sufficient. And I think that like there are some things, a lot of everything that would just be better off without interference.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Of course. I mean, especially with schooling.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I
so
mean,
like it still like really impacts my life because like it's like self-preservation at this point,
yeah,
like
yes.
where am I going to have the most freedom in the things that it matters to me, and I will go there and make things work until I can get further, I guess,
Yeah.
and like get further to like starting a community that operates without coercion.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I feel really the same on community for sure. It's about community for me. Absolutely. Um, it's about supporting one another, supporting other people in our communities. Um, I mean,
I mean,
I
like
think
the online community that we have is really amazing, but like
it, it is true, but who isn't wanting to have more
exactly
of that in our day-to-day life?
right.
Our neighbors, people living next door, people living down the street.
I'm laughing because I just had a really funny conversation with my neighbor about lots of stuff. It's just I just nodded. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, she's very sweet, but um
Just
just
a reminder that the statist is next door.
well, I wouldn't call her a hardcore statist. But just like misled. But like she's really, really old, and at this point, like just let her be. Like she's
Of
not
course.
hurting anybody. She's
Yeah.
she doesn't vote anymore. Like no, she's fine.
I mean, I guess ultimately, when it comes down to it, anarchy for me is home birth, it's nursing babies, it's eating foods with our community members, it's raising kids to run wild and free through the woods and playing in the river, and it's figuring out where I personally can help out and make a difference.
Yeah.
Supporting each other in the human experience has just become so unbearable. uh it's got to become bearable,
Yeah.
and I feel like anarchy is the way to get there.
hmm I have down here, I put healing from trauma. So, like, there's this idea of self ownership, right, that we in the community preach.
Yeah,
And I think a big part of that is recognizing and healing our traumas because how do you interact peacefully with other people if you haven't?
yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's what like our like my online community, like that's been a huge piece of um just getting closer to this lifestyle that I bring
Agreed.
with. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that accountability for sure. I am the Nourished Mother here on Facebook and Instagram. I am a postpartum nutrition coach and virtual postpartum doula. And I
Yay.
am helping women to heal fully in the postpartum time.
I want to add just because like I lost my daughter. Um, I was 40 weeks pregnant. I went through an excruciating labor. Um, I lost my daughter, and it was due to the neglect of the midwife that I hired. And Stephanie came and she came and visited for a few days. There was like a stream of people who came to my house, and um, like my community really, really stepped up. I had friends from online from the anarchist community. contribute financially. My friend who lives about 3 to 4 hours away drove down during my labor. She was actually coming for birth support, didn't know she was coming for after death support. Um, and Stephanie came down a few days after and spent some time with me and took care of me. And I share this all the time because it means so much to me. I was getting like meal trains, and people, they were they were being kind, but I live in the Midwest, and I was getting lots of like Midwestern comfort foods. And Stephanie came and she like went in my kitchen and she just whipped up this pot of soup, and like I just remember like it was so good and so like hearty, and like I could just, my body just felt that it was what I needed. And I always remember that, and like I just always remember that piece of her being here. And I have so much stuff that like I don't remember. Like I don't remember how she got to my house. And like this is my like best friend who I've never met. And like the one thing I remember is how she nourished me when I was so depleted. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in there.
I love you.
I love you too. So yeah, I definitely recommend you. for,
Well,
uh,
thank you.
um, yeah, I love you.
I love you too, babe.